everyone. Welcome back to the Legal Tea Podcast. I'm your host, Alani Clarkson, and today I have with me attorney Alexis Wilson. Before we begin, this episode is sponsored by Gorilla Hustle 88 Productions. This company will cater to all of your photo and video needs. Now, attorney, let's talk about the Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights. Can you tell us what exactly does the Fourth Amendment grant us?
Yes. The Fourth Amendment grants us the rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. It grants us the right to be secure in our own homes and any place that we have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Can you tell us what a search is?
Yes. So a search is when a governmental entity come in, they can search your car, they can search your home. It's literally what it means. It means to search, to look around, and try to gather evidence. That's the whole purpose of it.
Can you tell us what a seizure is?
Yes. So a seizure, I'll give an example. So say you get stopped by a police officer, they tell you get out the car, but they haven't put you in handcuffs yet, but they tell you to put your hands on the hood. At that point, you would probably think that you can't like just run away or walk away from the encounter at that point because it's escalated. At that point, technically, your body would be under seizure. So seizure is pretty much the taking of something.
Thank you. What does the government need to legally search or to take someone's personal property?
Yes, so the government would need a proper warrant in order to seize or search something.
Can you explain what a warrant entails?
Yes, so a proper warrant would entail is based off of probable cause. It's usually prepared by a governmental agency like the police or sheriff office and something like that. It has to be signed by a magistrate. If it's going to be for a seizure, it has to specifically state what is going to be seized or who is going to be seized. If it's for a search, it has to specifically state what is going to be searched, what does the search is going to entail, what they're searching for, they're looking for, or what they're going to get. For instance, I can use an example. You're stopped and you, the officers suspect that you've been stopped or driving while intoxicated, and you refuse to blow into the intoxilizer. At that point, the officer will prepare a warrant, and they will prepare a warrant for a blood draw. So they will take you to the hospital and forcefully draw the blood because the search warrant is for the blood, to take the blood.
Can you explain how a warrant is executed?
Yes. So usually no-knock warrants are not permissible, but in certain situations it is. If it's a situation where the governmental entity believes that evidence could be destroyed or a person is in danger, they can just go rush right in without knocking. But in normal procedures, they need to knock and announce that they're there. They have to announce that they're a police officer. They also usually have to serve a copy to the owner or whoever person that they're searching that the warrant is proper. And once they execute the warrant, then they can search or seize whatever they're going to what they're doing.
Are there any exceptions to needing a warrant?
Yes. So there are 6 exceptions to needing a warrant. So usually the number one exception to need a warrant is consent. And I brought that up first because most people, when an officer asks, "Can I search?" or "Are you willing to do this?" At that point, when you say yes, they don't need a warrant because you consented to having that done. There's exigent circumstances, which is also known as hot pursuit. If the crime is in place or happening at that moment, if they officer walk in and somebody literally is robbing a store at gunpoint, they don't need a warrant to arrest that person or to seize that person. They can go ahead and do it. There's also the automobile exception. There's a few other exceptions, but I'm not going to get into all of them. I implore you to Google it. So you can find out all of the exceptions to a warrant. But those are the most used exceptions to the warrant requirement.
Can you explain what a proper arrest is?
Yes. So a proper arrest is when a person is taken into custody by a governmental entity. So when they tell you, give me your hands and they put the cuffs on you, at that point you're arrested.
Now, switching over to the Fifth Amendment,
Right.
attorney, can you explain what rights are attached to the person being detained?
Yes. So at that point, everybody at some point has heard the Miranda rights. You hear it on TV, you hear it in school, you hear it all different places. Pretty much it's the right to remain silent. It's the right to counsel, which means if you usually say you have a right to remain silent, you have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford one will be appointed to you. Anything you say, it can be used against you and will be used against you. That's the right against self-incrimination. And here's the thing. With the Miranda rights, you have to verbally invoke that Even though they are afforded to you at the time of arrest or at the time that you're being brought in to be interrogated, you have to be Mirandized before both of those events. You have to invoke those rights. So if you're sitting there and a police officer is asking you questions and you're uncomfortable with answering them, your response should be, "I want my attorney." That you're invoke your right to an attorney. Or, "I'm refusing to answer your questions. I refuse to talk. I'm remaining silent." You have to invoke those Miranda rights. Other than that, they're just sitting there. And I implore everyone that's been under arrest or in interrogation and they're trying their hardest to get you to say something or do something that you didn't do. Please invoke your Miranda rights, because at that point, questioning is supposed to stop. And it should stop, because anything that's gathered after that, it will fall under the exclusionary rule, which means it cannot be used against you, because the fruit of a poisonous truth. You must be Mirandized. And if you invoke those rights, anything that happens after that cannot be used against you.
Thank you so much for explaining the Miranda rights in such great detail.
Thank you.
Now, lastly, what else does the Fifth Amendment grant to the public?
So it also grants you the right against compulsory self-incrimination, also the right against double jeopardy, which means if you've already been tried for a crime or if you pled to a crime, they can't go back and redo it. But the most important right that the Fifth Amendment grants to us is the Miranda right.
Thank you so much, attorney, for answering all of our questions. And lastly, thank you guys for tuning in to the Legal Tea Podcast. I'm your host, Eleni Clarkson. Until next time.